Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Nev from Nev's Tech Bits, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. I've been to protests with masks on. I've come face to face with old fag. I was new fag. And here I want to talk about the 764. Now we're getting into some really deep layer on layer stuff and into some real, not conspiracy theory, things that actually exist in little corners here and there. You know how Wall Street will do things, people on Wall Street will do things to make sure that they get the money. You know how bankers will do things to make sure they get the money. I'm talking front running, I'm talking about taking debits and switching up their order so that when you go over, they can nail you with a higher fee. Like, we don't want to talk about these things that happen with little groups of particular people when they're away from God's eyes or anyone's eyes. I'm not Christian Judeo, but away from anyone's eyes, and they go goblin mode. Let's face it, it happens. We don't like to talk about it, and we all like to think topically that everyone is good and loving and aliens don't exist, and we have to think that way so that people don't lose their mind. For the longest time, everything that had anything to do with UFO was completely banned because old Aunt Betty couldn't stand the idea that Yahweh wasn't the original God, wasn't the only God, that there's something else out there. We know that because shortly after the Area 51 stuff, the feds were making a lot of tests to see what would happen if people found out that aliens existed. There's more to it than that. So what I've just done here is pointed out that when particular sets of people get into their own place, they go into goblin mode and they get a little bit nuts, right? Even rich people do this. Epstein, Weinstein, P. Diddy. Now that we realize that, we need to go ahead and talk about the dark things on the internet. And we need to, because if we don't, they will devour our fucking children. I mean it. I don't like how little information about the 764 is out there. I really don't like how some of the information that is out there seems to be directly attached to conspiracy theories. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a freaking realist. I don't believe in shape-shifting lizard people. I had my first 2 shots when it comes to COVID, but I do question, do I need 8 of them? I mean, 8 throughout my life and boosters is one thing, but I mean, I've never gotten 8 boosters for anything, all within the course of like 3 years. Forget I said any of that. The 764 are not some magical, all-powerful internet dweller. They're messed up people, ultimately. Before I go any further, I need to tell you that in the real world, I am very trauma-informed. I date and love, have dated and loved many social workers, many therapists that weren't my own. I've had my own therapist. I recommend therapy for anyone. Make sure you get the right therapist, and ChatGPT can actually potentially make a wonderful therapist. And if you get one therapist you don't like, don't give up on therapy altogether. Find another one. Anyways, let's continue. Maybe a story would be best to point out. No, sorry. This is difficult bringing you in. Okay, so you get good people, you get bad people. You rich people, you get poor people. You get smart people, you get dumb people. Okay, so pedophiles. Let's start off with that. We've had to face them on the internet. During the Ides of March, there were a lot of evil pedophiles that didn't like new fag. Old fag, basically everybody on the internet got together and they fought Scientology. It was called Chanology. New fag was there to change the world. It wanted what was best for the world. Old fag wanted child pornography. They wanted animal abuse, the worst of the worst, anything you could think of. They were people that thought that e-fucked should be everywhere, that live leak should be everywhere, and they shouldn't have to go through a day without getting this stuff. They were, wow, they were messed up. And they messed with, these guys messed with these guys. I was one of these guys. These guys messed with us a lot in ways that, yeah, okay. So anyways, I got really upset. Something happened. I got really upset, and I had to go for vengeance or justice. I had to figure something out. Involve police. Tried to get some bikers involved when police wouldn't do enough, because I promise you, back then, police wouldn't do enough. They weren't informed. They didn't have the information. They are more informed now. They are better now. They will listen. And what's wonderful about my little fight with them is that now when the police get a phone call from me or an email, they know it's something they have to look at. They know it's something they have to look at. What's more important is that if someone calls the police on me now, the cops know that something's going on. Because while you have people on the internet that seem like dark, archaic gods, if you find out where they live and you knock on their door, they become Nietzsche's pale criminal. So I know about a lot of this stuff, okay? Because I've been there, and when I talk to normies about it, their mind starts to come out of their ears like, oh, this stuff can't be happening. There can't be dark people on the internet. Much the same way that Aunt Betty, great Aunt Betty, was like, oh, there can't actually be UFOs out there. God is the only God. God is great. That kind of thing. And yeah, there are people that they can't handle some of the things that go on. And when you want to talk about any of these things that would devour the poor, the unknown, the unwatching, they exist. And it's somebody's responsibility to deal with them. And who you gonna call? Hopefully the police. The police are the people you call these days, and it's a good idea to get them involved. Anyways, so the beatards, old fag, the bad guys. Anonymous. Old fag got kicked out of 4chan for the most part. Some of them stayed. And that was interesting. The effects of this war are still seen on 4chan. Go there, check out any of the adult forums, and one of the first thing that you will see is a pinned note saying, don't ask for underage stuff. Don't ask for it. We're not giving it to you. And if you post it, yeah. Anyways, so let's get into the 764 now. Remember I was talking about goblin mode in their little place? So after Old Fag got kicked out of 4chan, he found other places. And became some really horrible things. So you get like Elliot Rogers, who's just not there, right? Yeah, that guy was messed up. Wow. Okay. And then there was the van attack guy who was freaking delusional. He was not talking to Elliot Rogers or any of those incel heroes that he thought he was talking to. That guy had problems. And here's everyone involved in all of this has problems. I want to put that down first and foremost. Everyone involved in the 764 has problems. And all of the people that they hurt also have problems. And I bet if we looked at this, we would find that the families everyone came from had abuse, addiction, and mental health issue. I'm talking alcoholism. I'm talking about family generational abuse. I am talking no family, no mom, no dad. They're motherless on both sides. The 764 and the people that they hurt. Both of them. Now this puts them in a place where most people don't want to look and most people don't want to see, and God surely doesn't look. Okay, so I'm bringing together what I know based off of my life experience. Not what I've read, off of my life experience. incel. If you look into the true incels, not what women call incels, women will call incel any man that disagrees with them, which is fucked. An incel is someone who is truly messed up to his core. That the quickest way I can describe it is, Buddy was buying groceries at the grocery store. He's waiting in line. There was a good-looking cashier. Someone came up to her, said something, and she immediately went from going to a good-looking lady with a smile to being miserable, sad, gross crying because someone in her family died. And that incel guy was mentioned how, as he watched her break, his soul picked up. Guys, that's what demons do. You're feeding off of her negative energy. You are a bad person for that. But that's much different than disagreeing with a woman. That's much different. So 764 are really messed up. Let's talk about the 764. They're really messed up people that don't have feelings like most people. They have issues with their brains, things don't work, or they've been under so much abuse that things are just really fucked up for them. They're not, most of them aren't Satanists, and if you get into what their version of Satanism is, you're going to find out it's nothing like whatever everyone else says. I mean, online, if you say, oh, this guy's a Satanist, and everyone's kind of gets this particular idea of what a Satanist is, that is very much like the Satanic Panic. Satanic Panic is so retarded. It happened in the States. We had another version of it happening here, where Christians got together and decided that they didn't like what something was, so they called it satanic. And this goes all the way back to the Knights Templar, the French Knights Templar. I'm pretty sure his name is Bahamut. The goat's head, the woman's titties pointing up here and down there. That wasn't the devil. The Inquisition decided that was the devil. So you get a lot of regular Christians that have this idea of what the devil is, and if someone says Satanism, they immediately think it's that. It's not. It's not. Like, look into Anton LaVey's Satanism, where it's a church about Satanism that everyone in it legitimately doesn't actually believe in Satanism. They don't think Satan's a thing. They don't think God is a thing. They just have this set of rules that watches themselves. Satan wanted stuff for himself. If you get into the Kabbalistic text, you find out that Satan was pissed off with God. He's like, well, these guys get free choice. You give them the ability to have free choice over if they eat from that thing or not. You made them out of clay. You made us out of fire, and we have to listen to you. They can do whatever they want. If we don't listen to you, what's going to happen? If they don't listen to you, what's going to happen? So they have this kind of way of, now everyone's like, oh, Satanism, they're sacrificing animals or babies and all of this stuff. But no, did Satan even ask anyone to sacrifice children in the Bible, or was that Baal? I had a girlfriend in high school who was a cutter. I had no idea cutting was a thing. The endorphins, the blood, she was abused. Her parents would get drunk and beat her and like grab her by the hair and throw her back and forth until her hair come out in their hands. And this was a little town secret. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Oh man, I blew the lid off that thing. I tell you what, Bobby. And man, I lost some friends doing that. But in that, I kind of wonder, are you even human if you're letting this kind of stuff happen? That girl that I loved, I couldn't help. And when I couldn't help anymore, she got even worse. And I feel like that was partially my fault. But there was nothing that I could have done. There was nothing that I could have done. Anyways, she was in a bad place. And the 764 could have done something with her. If they would have got her, look up the CBC 764. The woman in that, the little girl in that reminds me exactly of the woman that I used to love. Juniper Nights, I'm going to call her. I loved her. Now, if you look into that story, at the end of the CBC interview, you're going to find out that girl was moving away from her mom. She doesn't even have a dad, I don't think, and she was moving away from her mom, which is the problem. Okay, so basically the 764 got to this girl, and they were all edgy together and talking about cutting and Satanism and bloodletting and stuff like that. So also I should say Satanism is also just freaking paganism. To a Christian, anything not Christian is pagan, or sorry, anything not Christian is Satanism. So if you're not a Catholic, technically, if you're a Catholic, you see everyone else as Satanist sometimes, because Catholicism was number one. It was the first one, and everyone, the second one was Protestant, and everyone else from that. So if you want to throw down the word Satanism, be really freaking careful with that, because there is a lot of ignorance and a lot of hurt that has come with people taking this Christian Judeo, this 90s Christian Judeo definition of it, and painting everything with it. I'm 90% sure that the 764 doesn't legitimately believe in Satan, or there are some people within it that do, and that do messed up things. But how much messed up shit can you do from this side of the keyboard? You can mess with people's minds. You can get them to do things. You can get pictures of them, and then you can manipulate them. There's probably more that I'm not thinking of that, oh yeah, and if you want to, you can destroy their lives. So Old Fag from Toronto and in Prime, Cade, they had a problem with Poppet. Actually, Cade and her friends had a problem with Poppet. They found Poppet's Facebook, and Poppet was dumb enough to put news of herself on 4chan. Well, these individuals found this, and they found Poppet's Facebook, and it was her public Facebook. Her last name was Hussein. I think she's dead now, and I think she's dead because Prime and Cade sent everybody, or wait, not Prime, it was Cade and her boyfriends. Cade sent all of Poppet's family these nudes of her. I think Poppet's been wiped from the face of the earth. I can't find her. And that haunts me. It haunts me quite a bit. I feel slightly personal responsibility for this, because this was part of my group. We were there to fight Scientology. We weren't there to fight the darknesses of the internet. Now here's what I want you to know about most of it. The darkest ones of these guys, they're under 35. Some of the darkest people I knew during Chanology were definitely under 18. Definitely. So it's not like they're running around the streets trying to cat people or anything. Like, they're messed up. The 764 are messed up. To begin with, they're messed up. They need mental health. They need mental health. They need support. They need therapy. Some of them need a wood chipper feet first. Maybe all of them. But what I'm saying is, if we want to protect the kids, the girls that they're hurting, we need to get rid of these guys, or we need to get them the help that they need so that they don't become like that. We need to make sure they don't become like that. And we also need to make sure that when this happens, we do something about it. And police are phenomenally known for not getting involved in domestics. They're phenomenally known for not getting involved in internet things, because there's limited things that they can do. And if you look back so far, from what I understand with police, they know how to hit things with hammers or like batons real hard. I've heard times when hackers talk about, I keep hearing stories like this. One particular story, there was a computer randomly in the middle of the road hooked up to something in the sewer system. Someone was doing something. The cops came and seen this computer system, and they just beat the crap out of the system. They just destroyed the thing. They didn't unhook it and bring it back so that they could see what they were doing. You get this way of dealing with things, and I'm telling you, the cops were not ready for the internet-based stuff. The Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986 was a new thing to everybody. And this internet stuff is new to everybody. You get a little sprinkle of technology, you get a little sprinkle of Satanism or some internet-based thing, and all the Christians are like, but at the same time, do we not have the responsibility and due diligence to make sure that these individuals don't become like this? I mean, I'm Canadian, and we try to reform. Our justice system is made to reform. In the States, it's there to punish. I really think that these guys should get punished and put into general population. It'll take care of the situation. But at the same time, I really think that we need to understand these people exist, that we need to have these conversations. I find it really troublesome that there aren't too many people having these conversations and other people think it's conspiracy theory. No, these guys exist. What was their name? Warren Trippy recently got caught. And the ones who did get caught flat out say, look, I don't have emotions. I don't know how to interpret. I'm using the wrong words here, but they're saying, I don't have empathy, and I'm sorry. I just don't have empathy. Now, the thing is, I have seen these levels of fuckers online, and I know the targets that they go after, and they are both in need of help and support because they're all motherless. And I really don't think that they have any love. I think that on both sides, these are people that are dealing with mental health issues, addiction issues, trauma, like generational trauma. I bet you on both sides, when you find out what their family life was like, the people that are hurting, the 764 that are hurting people, and also the kids that they are hurting. Now, I'm screaming here. I'm screaming with my old mask. The only reason why these guys make it to your kids is because you're not watching and you don't know. I want to say you don't care, but that's a broad stroke. Sorry, I'm talking to my ex's family now. You have a responsibility to keep your demons at bay so that they don't take over your children, so they don't devour your children. And that kind of gets me into what is our responsibility? Where does our responsibility end? Dostoevsky said that we're all responsible. And that really bothers me. That really bothers me. But shit people will say and shit people won't say because they get freaked out. I don't know. Sorry, I was thinking really hard before I posted this, but I already made a video about the 764, and from some of the comments that I got, I felt the need to talk about my personal experiences and the fact that this absolutely exists. And if you think that this kind of stuff can't potentially exist, you're freaking nuts. You're freaking nuts. And to back up what I said, watch the CBC documentary. There's a lot of conspiracy theory out there. There's a lot of and conspiracy theorists, will you drop it with the satanic stuff? Drop it. If it's pagan, say it's pagan. If it's legitimately there's like 3 degrees of Satanism, right? There's the Anton LaVey. There's the you're going out there and making sacrifices where you're burning your lunch as a sacrifice, which is a reasonable thing. And then there's animal and human sacrifices that are okay. When you get to that level of Satanism, you call the cops. You get the wood chipper.